Okay, we're going to call this meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Let the minutes reflect there's 3 of us present. And we'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval, agenda's approved. Non-binding committee recommendations to the board. Mrs. Shepherd, we'll let you take it off.
Okay, on the cash balance report, if you look at line 1, that is where we ended for the year, fiscal year 2025 on our cash balances. The grand total was 8.5 million amongst all the funds. And then for the month of July, transportation kind of looks funny, but that's because we did not receive a distribution in July. They didn't send it to us until the first week of August. But anyway, that's where we ended up for the year 2025 at 8.5 million. And then for the July month-to-date expenditures, on that check listing, check number 58714, let me start on page 1. Check number 58680 to the New Mexico Finance Authority and 58681 also to NMFA was for EdTech bond payments. Those are due in, I think, August the 1st. So we paid those in July. Check number 58685 to Riverside Technologies was for some of the switches and cables for our Category 2 E-rate project. So part of this project is paid for by E-rate. About 60,000 of it. 58687 to Tyler Technologies was, it's our yearly bill for the financial accounting system. And then check number 58695 to Power School is all of our yearly invoices that we get that we pay in July for the year. For all of our Power School software. Check number 58714 to Riverside Technologies was for the Chromebooks we bought. Check number 58725 is for the Go Guardian software. That's a yearly invoice, 10,000. And then check numbers 58737 and 58743 to New Mexico Public Schools Insurance Authority is for our property and liability insurance. And it was up by, what, about 25% this year, I think? Yeah, pretty big increase this year.
Big jump.
Is that increase covered by our state funding? As far as, or is that coming out of our total operation budget?
That comes from us, yeah. There's no assistance on that.
No. No.
And
Well, some of it's included in SEG, isn't it?
Well, yes, but it
But
doesn't
not
near
all.
cover, yeah, it doesn't near cover.
The increase in
Never is
SCG doesn't cover.
And they're the only ones we can get that insurance through?
That's
It must be nice to have a monopoly.
unless you're Albuquerque Public Schools and they have their own insurance set up.
Y'all have any other questions on checks? The payroll fund totals, we just had the summer payroll in July, and grand total was 174,000. 125 of that was the gross payroll, then we have the benefits. in addition to the gross payroll for a total of $174,000. I had about 14 or 15 bars, and those are all maintenance bars, end of the year maintenance bars. And the utility comparison, I did not see anything out of the ordinary for July. And then the large donations, we had two. One of them was from the Lincoln County Fair Association to band for Stampede cleanup in the amount of $1,200, and the other one was a donation to cheer for $1,100. I don't know if y'all have any questions about where we ended up on the cash report for last year.
So me and Mr. Nesbitt were talking, so do we need to actually have these subcommittee finance meetings? We basically do this every month in our meeting.
We have
So give us
to,
the same information.
we have to have two per year, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
We have
Just
to
a
have two
couple.
per, I think,
Yeah, it's
two
in
per
the,
year. We were originally doing them monthly and we kind of decided to
Then
go quarterly
and
and I
And if-
skipped the last one accidentally and
if y'all want to do one maybe in February after I have half the year's
February
cash
and
report.
August would be good.
And, yeah, the December, the second quarter reports are due on January the 31st.
Yeah.
So if we do a finance committee meeting in February, I can kind of go over where we are for
And then doing one in
half a
August
year.
would be after closeout when we can report
because we got
cash
the same
balance.
Yeah.
information in the
Yeah.
regular
So let's
meeting.
just do February and August.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll try and stress where we, ended up for the final year and then where we are at 6 months in the February one. So,
Any more
and
questions?
we're trying to spend more money, but
That's always a problem.
yeah, yeah,
At least we got it to spend.
yeah.
So we'll just plan on having February and August.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a nice problem to have to spend some money.
And if there's anything that y'all want me to go over in more detail monthly, I can. But I'm trying to hit all the big checks and things out of the ordinary, but it's not a normal monthly charge,
Okay.
so.
Any more questions? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So much.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
We have all our members are present. If you would stand and follow me, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Dr. Fraley, would you lead us in prayer?
Yes, sir. Heavenly Father, we thank you we can be here. We thank you for another year. We thank you for the rain. I pray for protection, for the ability to get our projects done. I pray that your blessing will be on this school for this year. In Jesus' name, amen.
And next is the approval of the agenda with the ability to float items within the agenda.
Mr. President, members of the board, I would like to remove item VB3, Title IX compliance. I'll have that for you at a later date.
Can we do a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move we approve the agenda with the ability to float items and remove item BB3 from current agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the approval of the minutes from the July 21st, 2025 regular board meeting. Anybody see anything on there that? No. So we do have some plaques for you guys. We appreciate everything you've done for us. We have Terry. if you'd like to come up and get your- We'll probably take a picture with you guys too, because we like to take pictures. And we thank you guys for all of your hard work, and you just thought you didn't have to come back to the school anymore. Mr. Ellison, there's yours. So like I said, if you guys will come up, we'll take a picture, and we're missing one more Misty Nunez. So. We should have put you guys at the end, made you stay here.
Come on in.
Right here, right next to me, come on. We did it together.
We miss you guys. Don't have too much fun. So, can we get this one to Misty?
Actually, it looks like he's passing it off.
Did you get her on the sub list already?
My son's already working here.
Make sure you fill out the paperwork in the bed.
No, thank you guys.
If you will see, it's up to you. Okay, you wanna give it to her to take it to Misty?
Yeah, are you doing?
Okay, the next one is the, SFE presentation with Ms. Petrallen.
Peter Allen.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. You don't mind sharing? Okay. Not as nervous this time. I'm still nervous.
Thank you.
Maybe I can speak better. Hopefully they can hear me. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, that's even worse. Okay, what I wanted to say first off is thank y'all for having me again. And I wanted to just bring a couple of things that we ended last year with that I know were problems. And I thought now's a perfect time to end last year, but start this year off with everybody on the same page. I'm here to answer all your questions. If you notice on my business card, it says Peter Allen, General Manager, but in partnership with Capitan Municipal Schools. And truthfully, that's what I feel like. That's what all my crew feels like. I've been here 8 years, and I feel more like a Capitan Tiger than SFELLC.org. That's the company I work for that provides me with all the tools to run this cafeteria that I'm proud to run. I've got a hard-working crew, and we love your kids. We have kids that are here as well. And so with that being said, I just want to go over a couple of things that you might see on the front of that paper. You know, we talked last time and at the end of the year, and I think I missed it, about kids' choices, serving sizes, seconds for free. We talked about all those things. And because of this committed school, we have achieved every single one of them. Y'all might not have known it, but starting last year in April, we already started serving seconds for free. We as well already raised the portion sizes at no cost to Capitan Elementary or Capitan Municipal Schools, serving sizes for your high school. That would be 9 through 12. And I have gone out these last couple of weeks and I've asked the kids, hey, have you noticed, like popcorn chicken, it's state regulated, 12 pieces of popcorn chicken is a serving, right? And that does seem ridiculous. It does to me. And so with the feedback, we decided to change the things we can. I can't change a hamburger is a hamburger. I can't cut one in half, but I can give them free seconds, right? But if I have a chicken nugget day or a popcorn chicken day or tangy lo mein noodles along with some orange chicken, I raise those portion sizes up already. And we've already had that meal once, and I went out and asked my high schoolers, what do y'all think? Do you feel like you're getting more? And it was all yeses. They could tell, they knew. And so maybe on those days it'll save y'all some seconds, since I know the school is covering the cost of seconds. But I want to show you also what the first 8 days, and if you look on the elementary, which is the very first sheet, which is really all you have to look at, the first 8 days of school alone, we have served 2,760 snacks. Yes, we've gotten some of those back, but that's what we've served. And that's through the whole school. What I'm telling y'all is total from K through 8, not pre-K. Your total breakfast meals, again in 8 days, are 1,436. Your total lunch meals are 1,902, with the seconds that we have talked about at 394. And the individual pages that you see, I have circled how many seconds. So you can see elementary got 117. Middle school got 131. And high school, I'm not sure if this is still working, got 146. And so that shows me, and I hope shows you, that seconds is going to the kids that you would like it to more, meaning your middle schoolers and your high schoolers. And so I hope that one part of it alleviates some concerns that y'all were having at the end of last year. Sorry about that. I'll stop here. I have a few other things, but since this was one of, I think, the most important things that were on everybody's mind end of last year and beginning of this year, and asked for feedback or questions on, I will bring in the pricing as well. Mr. Lee had said, why are we charging a full price for seconds when they're only getting a piece of pizza? We don't. If they're getting fruits and vegetables, it's it's all free, but we ring up fruits and vegetables at 50 cents. That's what you will, that's what that fruit and vegetable will be reimbursed for through your funds. If they get just a piece of pizza, it's going to be $1.25, the main entree. If they get a full tray, we're working on the best price for you. I'm not going to give that to you because nobody's relayed it to me, but we're going to get the best price the state allows for us to give. But once again, I thought a little concession would have been raising the portion sizes to alleviate some seconds. So now, is there anything I can answer a question on for you regarding what we've talked about so far? Do those numbers satisfy? Because I'm here for y'all, and I will make whatever changes you want to. And this is what we've implemented so far with the feedback we had at the end of last year. That doesn't mean it's the end of what we can and will do. And if something comes up 2 weeks from now, I've given you my business card, I will tell you, I am your cook. I cook all those meals. I order all those meals. I inventory all those meals, which means I can answer those questions for you. I've only been a general manager a year, so sometimes I have to take it out of my comfort zone and ask some questions. But most of the things that you might be concerned with, I can just answer right off the top of my head. And so I want to reassure, but I also am ready for more feedback. I'm telling you positive, but if there's anything negative, I feel like now's the time to know I can take it and take it back to my kitchen, change it, so the next time I come see you, I can tell you. Even if we don't talk about it today. Mr. Lee comes and sees me quite often, and he knows I enjoy constructive criticism. I try not to cry if you're giving me criticism, but call me. It has my cell phone number on it, has my email address. I am here for y'all to change whatever it is that you think need be. So, I also want to thank, is Angela here? No, Angela, Jamie Shepard, all my principals for helping us. Last year, we passed our 5-year audit, state audit. Really, it's been 6.5 years because of COVID. And that's not an easy feat. And the principals, the teachers, my staff, the supporting staff made this a no finding, which is a rare feat to have the state of New Mexico come to especially rural schools and find no fault. So I'm thankful to everybody that helped, and happy to say y'all passed with flying colors. And so that was a great job. Also, one last thing, SFE, and with that being said, myself, we are up to date. I know y'all know there's changes coming down the pipeline for school nutrition. And luckily, that's what we use SFE for, isn't it? To find those changes coming down and give me the tools to implement them in the school so there won't be any findings. And we've already implemented some of that because this year we have to be lowered, pardon me, 10% added sugar only. And so I can only procure items that already meet that standard. Lower sodium every year till it's met, which means pretty soon we won't be adding it. We really don't anyway. But they'll be taking some things out. You wouldn't believe string cheese how much salt has in it. As well as, this is a good thing and I know y'all are going to love it. By the year 27-28, all schools in New Mexico, all schools probably across the nation, have to be 50-50. 50% scratch cooking and 50% processed. That means homemade rolls, homemade pizza crust, homemade pizza sauce, homemade spaghetti sauce, many a thing that is processed that we don't want in the kitchen anyway. Time saving, money saving, all those things. Those, this year and next year, that'll be gone as well. And so I know as parents, grandparents, that's what we all strive for. And so I just want you to know that my company, and then via me and my partnership with them is what I'm going to say, keeps us knowing the regulations and being able to bring that to the school worry-free for y'all. If there's a problem, I take it to Mr. Lee, I take it to Jamie Shepherd, or these wonderful ladies sitting right here. And so I think with that, I'm done. Mrs. Gibson, did you notice we're having a Lucky Tray Day this week? I did not. You did not? You're too busy. Well, I am also taking up every promotion that is available for Capitan Schools. I'm going to do every one of them, starting tomorrow, is National Baked Potato Day. And so I am going to make sure that your kids have these fun promotions, posters. It's Lucky Tray Day on Thursday, and the kids know, for my babies, the kids know I have a great big poster board, but I'll call y'all in the morning to announce it. Not only does it drive participation, which helps all of us, but it's fun to do. And so I will start having Mrs. Gibson, Mrs. Huey post these things on our Facebook page, but any and all of them, please, you're welcome to. I want you to come see what your kitchen is doing. I'm proud of it. You know, I'm not saying we don't make mistakes. Unfortunately, we do, but we're working on all of them, and I'm committed, and I want you to see it in my face and hear it in my voice. I'm committed to this school and doing the best I can. And if I can help y'all in any way, please reach out. Please. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. What's our student count for the grades?
I'm
0
sorry?
through 5. What's our student count for elementary? How many students do we have?
205.
192, I thought.
190.
No, it's 205 in the elementary school. I was going to go over it over the superintendent's report. 205 in the elementary, 100 at the middle school, and 152 at the high school.
Thank you.
Yes, also, I'm sorry, with that being said, you can see the breakdown in the 8 days of how many kids you fed, knowing what your enrollment is, which is a pretty good number, except for middle school, high school breakfast. They refuse. Any questions on that?
finance report with Ms. Jamie Shepherd.
Okay, on the cash report, line 1 is where we ended up for fiscal year 2025. And then we show our revenues and expenditures for each fund for the month of July. And Fund 13,000 shows a negative, and that's because we didn't receive our July distribution until the first week of August. But we ended up last fiscal year at 8.5 million for our cash balance, total of all funds.
Is that where that seems really high?
It's about, I think I looked, and it's about 750,000 more than it was the year before at year end. But we got SB 9 last year that we hadn't had, and
Because maybe it was just our operational, I thought you'd said our operational cash balance is supposed to be.
the operational, yeah, the operational ended up at 3.1 million.
Okay.
Okay, and then the check listing, 58 checks, 58680 and 681 was bond payments to the New Mexico Finance Authority for the EdTech bond. Check number 58685 to Riverside Technologies was for switches and cables for our Category 2 project, which is part being paid by our E-rate funding. 58687 to Tyler Technologies is our yearly bill for the financial accounting software we use. 58695 to Power School Group. That's a combination of 3 or 4 different invoices that come on a yearly basis that we pay in July for different pieces of the software. 58714 to Riverside Technologies was for the Chromebook purchase. We got 60 of them. 58725 is for our Go Guardian software, amount of $10,260. And then check numbers 58737 and 58743 to New Mexico Public Schools Insurance Authority was for our property and liability insurance. And then on our payroll fund totals for the month of July, we just had our summer employees and the gross total was 125,000, and then with the benefits it came to 174,000 for the month of July. On the utility report, everything is tracking along normal on there. We didn't really have a big cost anywhere for July. And then our donations for board approval, we had one from the Lincoln County Fair Association to band for the Stampede cleanup in the amount of $1,200. Then we had a donation to Cheer for $1,100. And I had about 14 end of the year maintenance bars that I'm asking for y'all's approval on.
So Jamie, real quick, advance, going back on the checks, there was 58739 is for the Lincoln Electric Cutting Systems. So did they have the plasma cutter completely up and working right now?
They do, as far as I last saw it, and he is trained, and Mr. Scott has been trained.
Okay.
on not only operating but maintaining as well.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? And we did decide to just do our finance committee meetings like February and August going forward. Can I get a motion?
We're approving the consent
Consent
agenda.
agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next one, no public comment, Vince?
There is none.
The next one is discussion and possible action regarding CMS board policy J2550 JICD, student harassment, bullying, cyberbullying prevention, second reading.
So these, Mr. President, members of the board, these four policy revisions are basically centered around artificial intelligence and what impacted it. Impacted the artificial intelligence policy, which will be the last one that we.
We're on the bullying one,
Oh, I'm sorry.
student harassment, bullying.
Lost my mind. This one actually is, the only revisions to this is a cross-reference of IJNDB, which is one of our policies that we will be talking about later, and the revised date for today, so that there's no changes to the content, it's just changes to the reference. And I recommend that we approve the changes.
So by doing that, that'll become our new policy, is that correct?
It'll be a later policy. Yeah. And even though those four that I spoke of are going to come later in VB, they're all going to be reflective of artificial intelligence. And so we can pass this one now, and then next month when we pass the second reading on those other four, this one will already be in place.
Okay. Anybody have any other comments or questions on that first one? About the bullying?
I move we approve CMS Board Policy J 2550, JICD, student harassment and bullying, cyberbullying prevention.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is discussion and possible action regarding CMS Board Policy I6350, IJNDA, school use of electronic communication devices by students.
Mr. President, members of the board, you've got three policies in front of you. The first one is the existing policy that we have with no changes. The second policy is policies we received from the policy, from our policy service. The second one is actually, it's very similar to the one we have existing, where may not use them during school time with the exception of outside of instructional hours. And the third policy prohibits electronic devices in schools anytime, and also has some language about teachers having to secure them throughout the day. Pretty limiting. So it's my understanding that our current policy does meet the requirements of the state law. That basically the state law said that you have to have a policy, and you could not have cell phones during instructional time. It's essentially what the law said. Now this third one does go beyond that.
Where did the third one come from?
Policy service.
Yeah, oh, the second and the third one both came from?
Yes, sir.
Did they have a recommendation, or they don't give a recommendation?
No, they're not.
They provide-
Policy service won't make legal recommendations. They'll just provide us with language for And our own attorneys really don't make the recommendation. It's up to y'all to make those decisions.
Well, and from what I've heard from a few people I've talked to, that they say that really limiting the use of the cell phones has really been a good thing, beneficial. The students are actually more engaged and paying more attention in class. So I think that's a good thing.
Are you two okay with what your policy is now?
It was much better this year. Hardly do a fight at all.
So do they just come in and put the phones either away in the backpack or store it somewhere?
Last year we had a big problem with them going into the hall and using them, but we do not have that problem this year. They're following it.
Have the watches been an issue?
Not much this year. Last year it was.
Elementary, it's limited. We'll have 1 or 2 watches a year, 1 or 2 phones a year. Requirement for elementary is turned off in your backpack. If they need it turned on, it can be at the very end of the day to contact parents, just the parents can track them getting on and off the bus. And if it goes off during the school day, we take it.
My observations have been mainly during lunchtime on the playground. And there's high schoolers that will be on their cell phones throughout pretty much that whole time. It's a handful. It's not a mass. What I see more of is kids on their Chromebooks during lunchtime, sitting against this wall here, and they'll be on their Chromebooks anyway. And that's what I'm observing when I walk out the door. Or they're playing basketball, and we have more kids playing basketball than we have courts for them to play basketball on. So I think you have 3 options. You could either take no action and the existing policy would stay in place, or you could make a motion for either the second one or which is similar, or the third one which is more restrictive.
So if we take no action, that's just keeping our same policy in place,
Yes, sir.
which has been working.
I'm sorry.
Which has been working and effective.
It has been.
I don't think we need to change it if it's working. If it gets to be a problem, I guess we could look at
Could revisit.
revision. It's up to you guys.
So you're alone.
Is that a
Do we
motion?
need to make a motion?
Don't have to do anything, right? We
don't have to do anything.
If we take no action,
It's all right.
it just stays the same.
So the revision of June 16th, 2025, is that at the end of the first policy, which is the existing one? Does that need to
Then I would take that revised out.
just leave the adopted?
Yeah, I would remove that.
Okay, the next one. Next one is discussion and possible action to approve CMS board policy I-7100 IKC class rankings grade point average.
Mr. President, members of the board, this policy is one which, as we looked at our student handbooks and looked at our procedures that we've been following over time, we were following beyond what was in the original policy. And so what we've done here is we've added some language. Actually, Ms. Kennedy added some language that would reflect exactly how we do class rankings and GPA and how we've been practicing that in the past. And I don't know how long that's been going on, but we wanted to make sure the policy matches our practice. So you'll see You'll see some blue there that just clarifies some language. Class ranking will be determined each semester beginning with the first semester of the 9th grade. And then added is, or when the student begins earning credit for high school courses during middle school as approved by the New Mexico PED that meet graduation requirements and are recorded in an official transcript. You can see there, that language wasn't in there, and we needed to include that because we have a lot of kids that are receiving high school credit for in the 8th grade. So we wanted to reflect that. The second one, class rank will be based only on grades earned in classes that meet or exceed graduation requirements. The new language, class rank will be based only on the grades earned in classes, which include those that a student earned credit for during middle school as approved by the New Mexico PED that meet graduation requirements and are recorded on an official transcript. The fourth point is a new statement per I-7400 IKFA, early graduation. A student approved for early graduation will not be ranked by grade point average with the senior class and will not be eligible for valedictorian salutatorian. That's a practice that we have. That's a practice that we've been following based on the policy that exists, that already exists, that's I-7400. So we're just trying to match that policy. The next statement down in blue is the same language, basically. On the next page, GPA shall be determined by averaging all classes taken when the student, just to shorten that, we're referring back to that middle school question, you know, if the student's getting high school credit for middle school. Class offerings may change from year to year with some added language that, because there's a chance that there will be classes that are changed, or there's not interest, or, you know, so we make those adjustments. You'll see here previously the 10 courses listed below. We've cleaned that up to reflect the expansion of the courses that they could take for those credits to be counted towards GPA. And so that expanded that language a little. There was a statement there, dual credit, an asterisk, dual credit composition 1 and dual credit composition 2 are required in order to fulfill the English 4 educational scope equivalent of writing and research. Students who only take dual credit composition 1 but do not want to take dual credit composition 2 and instead take the second semester of English 4 to fulfill graduation requirements will not be considered for valedictorian or salutatorian. Dual credit, second asterisk, dual credit U.S. History 1 and dual credit U.S. History 2 are required in order to fulfill the educational scope and sequence of high school U.S. History. Students who only take the dual credit U.S. History but do not want to take the dual credit U.S. History 2 and instead take the second semester of U.S. History to fulfill graduation requirements will not be eligible for consideration of valedictorian or salutatorian. Then there's some added language.
Lance, real quick. So if they choose to not do the dual credit English or history,
The second one. If they take the first one and do not take the second one. So the language is in here, but the intent of that language is if they took one and aren't taking two, they probably failed it, or they probably hurt their grade point average anyway. But we need to have some language in there to explain that if you switch over to just a single credit, high school credit, then that pulls you out of that valedictorian salutatorian.
I think I understand what you're asking. So, what has happened before, and we're trying to keep from this happening, is a student might just take regular English and have a higher GPA than those that are taking a college English. So
Okay.
in order to be considered for a dual credit class and valedictorian, they have to be taking that college English. Because it's going to be
no,
harder to
I get it, but I think some of these other classes should have a higher, you know, if you have a kid taking chemistry and physics and pre-calculus or whatever, it's just me, but I think that should rank higher. You know, I know that some of it used to be some of your honors courses were graded on a 5-point scale. instead of just a 4, that would fix all your problems with valedictorian.
It doesn't fix all.
Well, it would
We have-
fix,
we
it
have
would fix most of them.
7 or 8 kids in the running all have 4.0s this
I know.
last year.
But if you have some that have 4.3 or 4.2, or it would eliminate some of your headaches at the end of the year.
We don't normally have, it's a wonderful position to be in.
Right. And I just think somebody that's taking a more rigorous class load should be rewarded more than somebody that's just taking your general education requirement.
And that's kind of the point.
I know.
of this.
But why just English and?
It's not, it's
Well,
just,
it's-
because
it's-
those 2 classes are, 1 and 2, composition 1 and composition 2.
So a kid takes composition 1 and 2, that counts for their English 4 credit.
That,
Mhm.
yes, exactly. Instead of being in the regular English class, they're taking dual credit English. That's correct. And the same thing with US history.
And this will have to go into effect for incoming freshmen this year.
Yes, this is what we've been doing. Actually, it's been in the handbook for, I know before I got here. Before
Okay.
I became the high school principal, it was in the handbook.
Okay.
But not in the policy.
We're not sure of the history behind it. We know it's been there. And that's why we're trying to match this to match what we're already doing.
I think whatever we decide, I think, whatever's fair across the board, and I get that, we don't wanna penalize any kids by not taking their second part of their dual credit. I just, as long as it's fair across the board with all students from start to finish, to where somebody doesn't get penalized along the way or have that same opportunity as everybody else did.
Everyone has an opportunity to take the dual credit classes, absolutely.
But if a kid just took the regular English 4 class, they're not eligible for valedictorian?
No, they're gonna be knocked out of that running.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments on that?
Shall I continue with the rest?
Go ahead.
Okay. We added the GPA, now this is the GPA procedure. The GPA will be computed in 2 places past the decimal on a 100% scale. If a tie exists, and this is some language, all this blue is new language, but it's stuff that we have been doing. It's stuff that has been in practice. If a tie still exists, the student GPA from the core subjects will be averaged English, science, social studies, and math, and will be computed 2 places past the decimal on a 100-point scale. If a tie still exists, the student, so omitted is if a tie still exists, the student GPA from core subjects will be averaged. And that, we clarified that language, we just clarified that language. It's basically saying the same thing, but we wanted to make sure 2 places on a 100% scale. Now, if a tie still exists, the student GPA from core subjects shall be converted into a percentile score by using the simple percentile score calculation of all courses on the transcript within PowerSchool, computed 2 places past the decimal on a 100% scale. If a tie still exists, consideration will be given to the more rigorous academic curriculum, advanced placement, dual credit, and honors, and the GPA on a 4.0 scale. If a tie still exists, consideration will be given to the more rigorous academic curriculum, advanced placement, dual credit, honors, and the student GPA shall be converted into a percentile score by using the simple percentile score calculation of all courses on the transcript within PowerSchool, 10 computed on 2 places past the decimal on a 100% scale. Lastly, if the tie still exists, consideration will be given to the more rigorous academic curriculum, advanced placement, dual credit, and honors advanced, and the GPA on a 4.0 scale. If the students remain tied after all previous steps and qualifications have been exhausted, the students shall be honored as co-valedictorian and co-salutatorian.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Instead of using PowerSchool, since PowerSchool may be running away.
SIS.
Put SIS system.
Yeah, so that would change to our SIS, Student Information System. So it's not locked into specific company. Good catch.
So with that being said, what AP classes do we offer and what honors classes do we offer?
We do not offer AP classes. That's why we kept the language in here, because they do come back. Right now, we're getting dual credit classes instead of AP classes,
Okay.
okay? But we do offer honors English, we do have an honors English for freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors.
I think two things come from that discussion, if you don't mind, Mr. President. We still left in the table here, AP classes are still in this table of optional classes. And then the statement that we made right before that, class offerings may change from year to year. So we wanted to be able to capture, in case we did bring AP back, that we did have it in the policy already and we wouldn't have to come back.
So, did you say you have honors English for every grade?
For every grade, yes. When they get to be a senior, it turns into dual credit.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
Right.
Okay.
So the changes in this policy are already, basically, there's, the urgency of approving this policy as is tonight doesn't affect our ranking for this year, correct?
It doesn't affect,
Anything, basically what we're being told is that we pretty much already go by all this based on the student handbook, and now we're just,
we're getting more support to be doing something that's been in practice for years, and we just want to make sure that we have it on paper and it's right, and it matches what we're already advertising to our incoming freshmen when they come in. It's-
right, cause that's basically where this, like, will officially take place based on this policy is this year's incoming freshmen.
It has been.
We've been using this.
Right.
Just on the student handbook side instead of board policy.
Just not on the board
Right.
policy side.
I think I'd like to see, or maybe review that, the student handbook a little more, maybe before we vote on this. I don't know, like I said, if it's not a pressing issue, we approve this tonight, I'd like to just review that side of the handbook a little bit. I don't know if you guys have any.
Well, we can bring that in next month, correct?
What I normally do, if you don't mind me talking, what I normally do is I take word policy and I put it into the handbook, and then I will, put a link to y'all's word policy in the handbook. And that's where we discovered that it was not word policy, what they've been practicing. When I went with your link, it didn't reflect what was actually practiced.
Okay. But the handbook outlines it
The handbook outlines.
based on,
This is basically.
based on what we're adding in here.
To be honest with you, I don't know if it's in this much detail,
Mhm.
okay, because this is a very detailed.
Mhm.
So, but I will fix the handbook whenever this gets passed to match this.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to review that of what we've been, what our deal is now before we.
And the handbook, it's online, right? It's on the website.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And I think if you, I mean, this is important to a lot of people. Put all the details in the handbook, just so they can't say, oh, well, I didn't know, or you didn't explain it to me, or something, cause somebody will.
And Mr. President, we're bringing this to you just to clarify. I mean,
Right.
we just want everything to be on the up and up and on the same page.
So I'm good if you guys wanna
Motion
Wait
to
a minute.
postpone.
wait another month on that.
I move we postpone the approval of the CMS board policy I-7100 IKC class ranking grade point average as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next is the discussion and possible action regarding Capitan Municipal Schools Board policies relating to drug and alcohol use for students, second reading.
Mr. President, members of the board, I'm going to have Ms. Huey help me through this a little. Last year, if you'll remember, we passed some policies regarding drugs, alcohol, tobacco for athletes, and it was really centered around our drug testing that we implemented, or we actually passed it before that, and then we implemented last year. What we found over the course of this last year is that we have other policies that aren't really meshing with our discipline policies. And so we've got for example, 30% of a season, but yet on the discipline side, they're getting long-term suspended anyway, so that didn't make a lot of sense. So we're bringing some policies to you that we did bring to you back in June, but we've gotten a little more clear. So as you look through these, as I go through these, you'll see where there's omissions in red strike through and there's additions in blue lettering. So the first one, and we can do them one at a time, that's fine. The first one is J3000, JICG, tobacco use by students and smoking. And we omitted alcoholic beverages because I hope you're not smoking alcoholic beverages. And so we omitted that one, and I would recommend that we approve that one. Now, it's the only change that was made to that. For that.
So do we need to, well, let's see.
I think I would prefer us to go ahead and,
Do you want them to do each policy separate, even though they're not listed that way in the agenda?
I would probably prefer.
Okay.
All right, so I'll recommend we approve policy J3000 as presented.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one is the J4550, extracurricular activity eligibility.
Mr. President, members of the board, and I'll read through these changes, and then if you have specific questions, I know Mr. Jackson and Ms. Huey spent a lot of time diving into this to make them match. But as you'll look down there for J4550, for activities, omitted was the first offense will result in suspension from that activity and continue until 16 hours of community service are completed. Also, any additional sanctions agreed upon with the sponsor, including a signed statement acknowledging the consequences of the second offense. That, to make it match, the first offense is referral to the district social worker, and 20% of consecutive contests or 20% of scheduled events for activities and additional sanctions agreed upon with the sponsor and ADAC. Students may be signed an accountability project.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
in order to map, I think that has to say 30.
For activities?
Yes.
I thought activities were a different number.
On the, well, that.
What are your
that's the
feelings?
tobacco.
Because we talked about it last time.
I'm going off just the changes that were made. And this is totally up to your discretion, if you amend it.
Well, I think we need to make sure it matches the athletic, whatever the athletic, it's activities / athletics, correct? We need to make it match, so one doesn't say they're getting less punishment. And let's see. So on the first offense for athletics is
30.
result in suspension from all competitions for 30% of consecutive contests, or 30% of scheduled events for activities.
So
it needs to be 30 probably.
change to 30?
Are you guys good with that? Yep.
Okay. So a second offense, you guys asked for us to move that to 50%
Yep.
on the second offense. And then third offense did not change, it's 365 days. The violation of the board policy regarding the use of tobacco products will result in suspension from extracurricular program for 2 weeks. That did not apply at all, so we changed that. We added some language there, and may be subject to probation, drug, alcohol cessation, instruction, suspension of or expulsion, in addition to other civil and criminal prosecution. It replaces will be suspended from extracurricular program for 40% of scheduled events and activities. going on to the next page.
Vance, real
That's,
quick,
that's
before-
it, actually.
Before we go on, so there, on the next paragraph, there's just like the one sentence, says the Capitan Middle High School drug test procedure is as follows. And we say the names of all athletes participating in sports for the school year will be entered into a random selection process at the beginning of the school year. Should that say the names of all students participating in extracurricular activities? Not just sports,
Not
but
just
it's,
athletes.
it's FFA band,
Student
yeah,
council,
yeah.
So
National Honor Society.
So should we change the language of that to reflect, you know, a kid could tell you at the beginning of the year they're not playing anything, and then all of a sudden they show up to play basketball or power lift or
Well,
something.
I know.
And we wouldn't know they would be on that list at the beginning of the year, so maybe our language needs to be updated with
Updated
each season.
each season, or,
And maybe not say athletes participating, say activities,
Students.
or just students
Participating
participating in activities.
in extracurricular
Athletics and activities.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you guys good with that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that change, athletics and activities.
And then do we change it from school year to season? Or, like you're saying, if somebody doesn't sign up,
Into a
Because if
random,
somebody only does track,
their name's not in. at
well, I
the
think we
beginning
can
of the
leave
year.
that sentence, but then add a sentence and will be revised throughout each
throughout the
season.
school year, or throughout the school year.
We're still using white sand, drug and alcohol for the testing.
Okay. And then there were no other changes other than just the date that it would be revised.
So will we need to get those changes done and have it approved next month, or do we?
But you can approve them with the changes, and I'll just make sure the changes happen. Either way, either way.
I move we approve policy J 4550 JJJ, extracurricular activity eligibility. The policy as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one is the, J 4581, JJJE, extracurricular activity eligibility regulation.
This is not an approval. I probably had it as an approval. We can do it that way. This is the regulation, which does not require board approval, but it is the regulation for the one that you just passed. So I'll make any amendments. I'll just let you know, I'll make any amendments that we made to here that will be reflected in the regulation. Which this regulation will be the code, the activity code agreement that students sign in there out of the handbook.
Oh, you said we don't need to approve that one, correct?
No, regulations and exhibits don't require board approval. They're just,
Okay, so is that all of the ones for that one?
that's all of those, just the two of them.
Okay, the next is the disposal of real property, and this is discussion.
Mr. President, members of the board, we have a two-pager here of mainly computer technology equipment. Is there anything else on here?
No, not on
Okay,
this
it's,
one.
it's
There's-
all
I'm gonna have a list every month, probably going forward till we get some of this
technology
stuff.
equipment
So
that
these
we
are
need to
put
get rid of.
For auction, just to have an auction, of what we do, or just,
Yeah, Ms. Shepherd and Mr. Rush, and he was involved because of our buses. They spoke to a company that does online auction, and we'll, when they sit for 30 days, then we'll put them on that auction site, and it's a government auction site.
okay,
What's the name of it?
Gov deals.
Gov Deals?
okay. So we have a motion to do that.
move we approve the disposal list of real property as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next one is the fun one, approval of the 25-26 special education manual.
Mr. President.
Everybody read that?
Well, we're going to try to help you all out a little bit. Mr. President, members of the board, I'm going to ask Ms. Beats to come up, and she's prepared kind of a Cliff Notes version of the changes that were made.
Thank you. President, members of the board. Walsh Gallegos has conducted its annual review of its policies and procedures governing special education. This lengthy document has 150 changes, 16 pages. So as far as Cliff Notes, some of it is just clarifying language. Other parts of it is having the IEP team state whether a child has a significant cognitive disability. There's just many. There's a lot in here that has to do with Braille, which at our school right now, currently, doesn't necessarily have to do with a lot of our kids that we have now, or any of our kids actually. Based on the review, Capitan Municipal Schools assures that it has in effect policies and procedures that are consistent with New Mexico's policies and procedures and meets each of the conditions of assistance under the IDEA-B application, which was just approved this last month completely. So every year on the IDEA-B Part B application, we have to put that we presented it to the board, that Walsh Gallegos has reviewed and updated the policies and procedures. Any questions? This is also posted on our website. So as soon as you approve it, then we'll get this year's posted on the website. And they actually approved it sooner than last year. So we're working on getting it quicker rather than later. Last time we had it in the fall.
Do you have any questions on that? Need a motion to approve that.
Thank you. I move we approve 25-26 special education manual as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is the approval of the 25-26 and 26-27 lease agreement revision for the transportation department.
Mr. President, members of the board, you guys approved this last month, and one part of the document was not agreed to by the leaseor, and it was the exact same thing that was not agreed to 2 years ago, and it ended up stuck on there again, and so we had to go through that negotiation on that. And it's, if you'll see there on the second page, during the term of this agreement, any of the tools, equipment, vehicles, or materials stored at or placed in the building or on the premises covered by this agreement by the lessor will be moved at the request of the lessee. Normal time allowed for moving. And I did remember back that language ended up on this document last time, and we had to do the same thing. So I will try to make sure 2 years from now it's not on that document.
So is that saying that they can put tools and equipment and materials there,
There is.
and we can't tell them to move it?
Yeah, basically it's saying that any of their stuff that's there, we're not going to mess with, and we're not going to tell them they have to move it.
As long as they
Like I
don't
said,
bring-
we had this happen
As long
2
as they
years.
don't bring any more?
I don't anticipate it.
Okay.
Bring more? No. They haven't. I think they're wanting to ensure that we're not going to just tell them, 30 days to get everything of yours out of there, and we never have. There's,
Okay.
I recommend we approve the 25, 26, 26, and 7 lease agreement as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next Next is the discussion regarding CMS Board Policy E3900 EGAD copyright compliance.
These four policies, back to what I originally mentioned, these four policies are centered around artificial intelligence. They are a first reading, so I'm not asking, they're a discussion only. I'm not asking for action at this time. But I will be bringing them back to you next month for action. They're pretty straightforward. But you'll see in the first one, it actually it has a statement, the last page, and you'll have to go to the second copy. The first copy is the original, what we have in place in our board policy manual right now. Oh, no, I guess I only have one in there. Okay. If you'll go to the last page, the only thing that changes, or the second to last page, is just a statement there about AI-generated content and copyright, and what belongs to the school and what doesn't belong to the school, essentially. The use of artificial intelligence tools by staff or students to create, modify, or distribute content must comply with copyright law, and this policy. Unacceptable uses include, but are not limited to, reproducing or adapting copyright works using AI in ways to exceed fair use or occur without proper licensing, inputting copyrighted materials, text, images, audio, video, software code into platforms if doing so violates copyright terms or the tool's user agreement, presenting AI-generated outputs containing copyrighted content as original work unless explicitly permitted and properly attributed, using AI tools that rely on copyrighted content without verifying licensing terms, use, or output ownership. All AI-assisted or AI-generated educational materials, assignments, or media must adhere to existing copyright guidelines. And when in doubt, staff should consult the superintendent or designee or district copyright officer before the use. And the only other thing is the reference, referencing IJNDC, which is the use of artificial intelligence. That's a policy that you'll see here in a minute. That is a brand new policy. It didn't exist, and so you'll see that here shortly. And then I have a revision date of next month. Any questions on that?
Is there software to screen for AI use now? Like, is there something that says a student generated some of this document through AI? There is? Okay. Yeah. Is there more than one? Is that like something
I
you
think
can
there's
get
several out there, but yes, our English teachers use them.
Okay. Did you know the name by any chance?
Our English teachers.
Okay. I'm just curious because I mean they're hard to tell sometimes. So I just wondered if there was a way
They
to
can tell you like 50% AI generated, 90% AI generated.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. That's great.
Stanford wrote stuff back in 2013 that was searching code that would compare your code to other people's code. Does any of this AI, because I've heard a rumor that teachers are using AI to write exams. Do we have anything in place that, on any of these policies that talks about our teachers not using AI to write exams?
I would have to review these. I mean, these are I'll have to review closely this last one, the AI policy itself.
So I find that to be a very interesting situation, I guess, if it's true.
Okay.
Generated test can generate answers, and that doesn't mean that the teacher covered it in the class.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
So I think we need to make sure to have something that's gonna make sure that we're not letting it creep in that way.
Shouldn't be a need to, because our curriculum has so many assessments that are paper or electronic version. So the teacher shouldn't have a need to, I'm not saying they're not.
I don't know that mine's only a rumor I've heard, so. Right.
It's one of those things that it's moving so fast, it's hard to us to
Keep up.
Yes, and so that's a very good point. Not something that I thought of, but they should have them.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if textbook authors, textbook companies are using AI to write the whole textbook.
So I will tell you that one of the state mandated assessments for iStation has been bought out by another company called Mirror Learning, and they use AI to rate the children, their fluency, their accuracy, and all of those kind of things on the computer. And so it's a state mandated assessment for K through second grade. We're mandated to use it K-5 because of the structural literacy piece. It's a requirement for us. And so it is an AI generated program that is using AI to evaluate our students' reading. So that's how fast it's
I
going.
mean, it's here.
No,
And I get what you're.
I understand it's here, and mine's gonna go to math.
Right.
Because I've heard that we have math exams that were generated. Now, I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. Like I said, this is a rumor. So I'd started asking to see math. When people say, well, you know, they generated it. Well, let me see the quiz. Well, we don't get those back. I've kind of a little challenge there too, as a parent, if you're gonna tell me that I can't look at one of my kids.
What my kids learning?
Yeah, and if my kid takes the test, I want to go over the test book, right? I want to be able to look at the test. But it's just raised some concerns that I have. Because I'll go to math, should be paper and pencil on a test. So I'm just a little concerned with what's going on.
Good question. Very good question. Any other questions on this first policy? And we'll probably get into a little bit more on these other policies as well.
You guys good with the first one? Move on. Okay, next one is discussion regarding CMS Board Policy I-6400, IJNDB, use of technology resources to instruction, or in instruction.
So we currently have I-64 in our policy manual, and you're just going to see some revisions here in yellow. I think they're at the end as well. Yeah, it's a revision, and it's referencing artificial intelligence. Now, I will tell you, any questions regarding that? The regulation does not require board approval, but it'll go hand in hand with I-6400. It's the regulation for that. We did add a little bit of language in here to reflect AI tools. That first sentence, filtering, monitoring, and access controls shall be established and regularly updated. That's just telling us that our IT department needs to keep an eye on it and make sure that we're up to date. And the rest of these all are, some of it's changing language, like instead of employed persons to personnel, and the rest of it is all including AI tools. So we just want to reference that. That is the regulation, which would be 7. The next one is the language that parents sign off on, and it's I-6431, IJNDB, use of technology, E, it's the exhibit. And it also, I missed, oh, there it is. It talks about the AI tool interactions, AI tools, and when using AI tools, rules and policies related to academic integrity, and including those pertaining to all AI tools. This one also is not one that requires board approval, because it is just referencing I-6400, and it's us clarifying the language so that when parents sign off on this, they're signing off that they understand the AI tool inclusion into this into the policy I-6400. So, any questions before we move on? And now maybe item VB9 is the new policy strictly regarding artificial intelligence. And Mr. Hacker, this may be where some of that shows up when you read through that.
And so is this piece brought to us by the policy services?
Yes. Yes, and what I intend to do with this policy, because it's a first reading and you're not acting on it tonight, I probably will run this one by Walsh before I bring it back to you.
Okay.
I know they're deep in reviewing different AI policies. A lot of them we get from a lot of school districts get them straight from the policy services, and then we pass them off to our attorneys to review, and then they've done something. They'll have revisions, I can guarantee you there'll be some revisions to it. But just reading, I'll read through the whole thing, unless you prefer me not to. Or do you want to take?
I don't think you need to read us for
All right.
pages of stuff. But Wes, I think it does say, let's see. Well, so if you look in there on the, third page, it's third paragraph down, it says.
It talks about employees.
Using AI to complete assignments, assessments, or official documents in ways that misrepresent authorship or breach professional ethics. So, I mean, we can expand that if we need to.
There is a statement there. It's pretty general. But the next one says, accessing or deploying AI applications or services for work-related purposes without prior approval from the superintendent or designee, which would be a principal. I mean, that's a...
Yeah.
If you are making those tests using AI and you're not getting prior approval from an administrator, that's a conduct issue. Not the next one, not the big paragraph, but the next one, using AI to make final determinations on student assessments and grading. And then a catch-all, using AI tools or platforms in any other manner that would violate the law or other district policies or school rules.
So yeah, look over this, everyone, and, I mean, this might take a couple of months to pass through. But
It may, and Mr. Hacker, or any of you for that matter, as you read through that, feel free to reach out to me and say, hey, can we question the attorneys on this item, or
Sure.
can we take a deeper look at it? Because believe me, the administration is chasing AI too, just like everybody does. It does move. It's moving extremely fast.
all of those support policies. We don't have none of the next public comment, so superintendent report.
Mr. President, members of the board, I've got a few things I want to report. Tiger Stadium renovations, we started paving today. They got the start shoot to the straightaway laid down, and it's where it meets the curve of the track. They'll go back in and saw cut that, I believe, and match it up so it's a good scene. They finished the long jump runways. They got those finished today, and they also finished the javelin runway on the other end of the field. It's laid down. Because of the rains, I'm probably not going to get them back till Thursday. Might be Monday before I get them back, depending on how much more rain we get. But they intend to get that high jump done and get the track done They have a bigger laydown machine for the track than they used for the other areas, so it ought to move pretty quick. It's my understanding they just got 2 laps around the track in there, and that laydown machine will handle it. So it looks good. I walked out with a couple of you before the board meeting and checked it out. But it's coming along. It's looking good. Parking lot renovations, that's complete. Boy, that thing was deteriorated pretty bad. But we're going to get a few years out of it. And then in talking with Mr. Harkey and others, the next time we do this, if we do it, we may have to do it within the next 2 or 3 years, 4 years, but it needs to be a full chip seal, filling those cracks, because those cracks, some of them were pretty bad. They were trying to put some concrete in some of them, and it came out nice, but there's something, it just had deteriorated. So Cummins gym floor came out really good. We do have a couple of punch items that I've already spoken to the contractor, and they're planning on coming back in the next week or two and solve those basically two punch items. That one area where they laid down the first coat of material, and they ended up with a clump, and they tried to wipe it off. They tried to pull it off or wipe it off, and it ended up leaving a little crater. They need to repair that. And then there's a place on the black sideline where the paint it didn't adhere smooth. It didn't dry smooth. It dried just rough, like it was spray painted on. And then it's an area about 3 foot long by about 3 or 4 inches wide, and they're going to come and just redo that whole area and get that cleaned up. Other than that, it turned out really nice, and I invite you, if you want to go over after this meeting, and I can show you the gym and show you what I'm talking about on the punch list. I'm glad to. Or if you want to go out to the track, check it out. Current openings, we do have a math instructional coach opening that we want to make sure that we have someone certified in the area now. So search continues. It's kind of ended up a rough time of the year because school started now, and we want to make sure we got quality in there and have our kids and our teachers supported. Mr. Rich and I went to an event last Thursday with the Republican Party of Lincoln County.
Yes.
It was Thursday. With the Republican Party of Lincoln County, and we were a panel. There were 2 board members from Ruidoso who spoke on behalf of Ms. Ferguson. Mr. Clough, the superintendent at Corona, was there, and Ms. Velasquez, the board president at Hondo, was there. And they had a whole bunch of questions to ask about education and in general, and they got through about a third of those questions because they had way more questions than they could fill the time. We had 1 hour between all of us, and I felt like it went well. It went very well. Our current enrollment: 205 at the elementary, 100 at the middle school, and 152 at the high school, for a total of 457. That's still way above the 443 or so that we finished the year last year with, so 14 additional. There has been some incoming and outgoing, and that little shuffle around. It'd be nice to land right there at 460 and kind of stay there. That's a good number. The morning traffic plan, we're basically on day 2 of it. We had some concerns from community, and I know some of those in the community, that people were getting hung up out on 380, and it could cause a potential safety issue. We looked at different ideas, and we came to the idea in the morning we can schedule around, and we can start getting kids out of the vehicles at 7:25. Also we originally were 7:20, but also letting the high school kids out of the bus at 7:25 and get them to eat. That was one problem, is high school and middle school kids didn't have enough time to eat. There's only about 10 or 15 minutes to get over there and eat and then get back to class. But then there was the other safety issue with people being out on 380. So on Thursday, we actually started about 7:28, about 2 minutes early, and it helped. We noticed that it helped. But this morning we went to 7:25, and the elementary staff were waiting on cars to get there, and there was never one time did I see vehicles out on the highway. And so we're going to continue with the 7:25 idea in the morning. It worked really well for both high school, and I think the kids got to eat too. So we're going to stick with that for the morning. For the afternoon, we haven't come up with a solution, and I don't know the best solution. One thing I will not do is double stack cars to drop off kids or pick them up. Just too much of a chance for a kid to get run over. And so that's kind of out. Miss Gibson and I have talked in the past about utilizing Forest for certain grade levels and this side for not. We run into sibling issues when we have that, so we haven't worked that out. The timing of things, we don't know that we can adjust the timing of things a whole lot because we get out of school when we get out of school and people are already parked there. Some of them park there as early as 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, so we haven't really come up with a solution for that. Although, excuse me, today, Miss Gibson mentioned to me that her teachers didn't get out of the building until between 4 and 4:05, and we had a little stack up out on the street, but we were able to move everybody out of the parking lot with their elementary children loaded and out of the parking lot by 4:12.
In the rain.
Huh?
In the rain.
In the rain. And so, when it's in the rain, that means they're in this hallway and they're having to announce them down the hallway and trying to get them. It's kind of chaotic a little bit. But we had everybody out and the buses were rolling at 4:14, 4:13, somewhere in there. And we were able to get everybody out of the parking lot. There was a little backup on 380. But I think if we get the teachers out there with their kids at 4 o'clock or before, then we can work towards getting people off at 380 and waiting around. So, if any of you ever have an idea on that afternoon deal, let us know. But we think we solved the morning deal. So.
I think 2 years ago, before the Tiger Drive construction, we had a secondary elementary line that cut off at the entrance and came around and was in this direction, kind of where they turn now out of the middle.
Yeah.
2 years ago, that worked pretty good because people that were waiting way back at the beginning could go get in that secondary elementary line, as well as the high school, middle school line. At that time, there was enough room for that line to get around that secondary elementary line, and that seemed to work pretty good. And the Tiger Drive construction took over, and it never was the same after that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
People kind of forgot
I'm afraid of kids even walking across that lane of traffic to get them out. We've had some people just flying through this park, just.
Yeah.
That's my biggest concern. I mean, if I thought that double stack, if we could stack them in there and be able to walk them across there and get them in a vehicle, then I would, we'd consider it. But
So Vance,
just
what about just running like in that center lane? If you just ran 2 sets of cars but still have just one come through, at least to get that amount of cars off.
If they got trained on that, there's only 2 lanes. So right at the curve out here that kind of goes around there, I don't know that we wouldn't have a problem there trying to get people out. That would be 2 stacked up coming in. Because there are 3 lanes when you come in, but eventually it turns into 2, really. 2 and a half, maybe.
Is like that middle lane, if you came in 2, you just have to have them where they take turns, one goes, and you know what I mean?
Right.
Just to get them off of 380. I don't know if that would work or not.
Well, we're going to try to make sure they're out there and ready to board those cars at 4 o'clock or even a hair earlier if we can, because she releases at 3:55 with the car line, and the quicker we can get them over and start loading them up. And the other thing, and we just gave her a plaque tonight, but Misty was always she knew the kids, she kept that thing going. And so we have a new staff member right now that's learning everybody and having to learn that. And so we've even noticed an improvement over the last 2 weeks that as she learns those names and knows those cars, then it's been improved. It's slowly improving. Just today we had a little glitch in the rank, but it has been improving a little bit.
Do we have any extra staff that could possibly be stationed out in the parking lot, kind of directing lines and?
There's a chance we could do that in the afternoon, possibly. It would be me standing out in the middle of the road, and because I prefer that if somebody's going to get run over, it ought to be me. But directing traffic. But I did notice.
You might not want to do that.
Yeah,
We'll get you an orange vest.
Target. But what I did notice, especially this morning, was that the middle school parents seem to be they're starting to understand that they need to go around the parking lot. They need to go around that backside over there. We didn't have near the vehicles last week or the week before that were going around that way. They were getting in line, and all it takes is three high school, middle school cars to back you up in that elementary line, and now we're getting just back up, and it's getting compounded because once you're stuck out there, you can't make the right. You got to wait to get the right turn made there at the curb to go as a high school or middle school parent. So it's a little more efficiency on our end, probably in the afternoon, and
When you have 20 or so parents that are here at 2:30, there's nothing we can do
Right.
to avoid that situation.
There's already a
And the
backup.
rest of your family show up at 3:55 while they're stuck behind those 20 parents until we get those kids in. I need to look at our numbers as well. It feels like, I don't know if this is accurate, it feels like we have more students that are coming to and from school in the car than on the bus in the past. So that's a statistic I'm gonna look at as well.
And another one we want to look at, and we've talked about it, is that, and at the high school especially, but even at the elementary, is the number of kids that are getting dropped off by parents in the morning and then are jumping on a bus because they have activities or they have something going on. But even in the elementary, we think that there's a number of kids that ride parents in the morning and bus in the afternoon. So that's another deal that we've been talking about.
I did talk to Randy. Randy stopped me on my way in here. I thought I was getting pulled over, but he was just wanting to talk. But he did say that the staff that stops traffic on Tiger Drive and let the buses out, he highly recommended them wearing safety vests.
We're aware.
So he just wanted me to bring it up again.
Okay, so we had a lot of kids do really good at the fair. I'm not going to go into great detail. They've been acknowledged individually, but 9 of our Capitan FFA kids were in the sale, and we have numerous others that were FFA or 4-H kids. Over 440,000. Something in that range.
Before add-ons.
Big sale, really big sale. Like to congratulate everybody on that. But I thought our kids did really well. Really proud of them, and they've performed. They did a great job. And with that, we have Labor Day on the 2nd. District's closed. Homecoming week is the 8th through the 13th. We play Hozo that's on a Friday night. Originally it was scheduled for Saturday afternoon, but we did get it moved to Friday night. There'll be various activities through the week for the kids. The 2nd, the 9th through the 12th is ASBO training. A few might be out. On the October 2nd is the end of the first 9 weeks. It's also the 40th day, and October 6th through the 9th are our parent-teacher conferences. And that's all I have for my report. I'd take any questions, comments, or.
Question on the elementary students. So the reason I was asking about that I jumped at the count was because there's a pretty big difference in the breakfast count versus lunch count. Do we have a handful of kids that go home? And I didn't think so, because We have 1,150 lunches, breakfasts served, and only 746 lunch. Okay, all right, that would, okay.
Actually, a lot of them bring their, middle school
Okay.
kids bring their lunch.
All right, that's what I was just trying to figure out, why the difference.
Even if they don't eat it.
Everybody gets a breakfast.
Our seniors aren't listening. No. That's good, okay. That was why I was asking. It's 400, yeah. It's just 400 different. So kind of big. 8 days, that's only 50, it's 50 meals a day, right?
Well, advance on that, looking at this also on the,
Kids bringing their own.
on the meals, do not all, are we not doing where all the students get free meals? We are?
They do.
Cause why does it show some are free, some are reduced, some are paid?
That's through their accounting,
Oh, okay.
but as far as we're concerned, that's,
It makes a difference in the reimbursement rate.
it makes a little difference in our reimbursement.
How we get reimbursed.
That's how it's reported to us, which is reported to the state.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, that's a frustration I know on mine and Jamie's part, is that we get reimbursed for free meals from the federal and the state fills in. But we're paying a certain amount every month for, out of our operational to cover that. It's not covering
Food
the,
cost.
it's not covering the meals.
The first trip through or the seconds? I mean, obviously not the seconds.
The program itself,
Yeah, okay.
not
what
just the
is-
second.
I mean, what is
Seconds
that?
aren't causing that
What
us
is
getting
that-
billed more than we're getting reimbursed.
What is that number looking like? Is it 5,000, 25,000,
10,
Probably 10,
10
10,000
Yeah.
a month?
a month? Yeah.
yeah.
So we don't-
No,
3,000.
I think we ended up at 25,000 for the year is where we were, so.
So 2,000, well.
Yeah, 2,500 or so a month.
So I did a little calculation, and this is where I went back to Petra and asked her, why are we getting full charge on a seconds? Because if you do a calculation of 100 students per day at a full meal price, that's like $59,000, somewhere in that frame. And that's where we went back to her and said, why aren't we doing this kind of a la carte rather than just putting a blanket full meal? Kid grabs one piece of pizza and they're getting charged at $3.90 or whatever. We'll continue working with it.
Okay. So do we have anything else that needs to be on next meeting?
You guys, we talked a little bit about, class action suit. Discussion of possible action to engage in class action litigation, social media harm to children. We approved, it was in the last minutes of the last meeting. But we said we were gonna make sure that we weren't paying anything. Or did we just pass it last time?
I did not check on that, and I will, and I'll have it.
Maybe we just passed it last time.
We just passed to become part of the class action, correct? And I think any cost would have to be brought back to us.
I didn't know we had passed it, and I'm okay with passing, that we did pass it. I agree with the litigation. I guess my question though, if we had brought this subject up more, was to say, what are we doing as a school to take care of our kids on this? If we're willing to join a class action lawsuit, I guess I've been thinking to myself, well, why are we doing it? What are we hoping to gain? What's the outcome that we want? And is there a reason we would wait as a school to help our kids for a settlement? So
Well-
I don't know what we're doing. The social media harm that we're worried about causing our kids and the reason we would join that class action lawsuit, I hope we are thinking about that as a school and what we're gonna do to help our kids without waiting for a settlement on the lawsuit.
We have many, and I'll let you share in a second. We have many, with regards to firewalls and everything we do with regards to social media, those are all blocked if they're on the network. I mean, they could be doing something on their own phone.
Right. I'm probably leaning more towards our education. And are we talking about maybe having subject materials covered in certain classes that talk about mental health and how to manage these things and how to put that to a balance in our lives? And
So the first week of school, every one of my teachers talked to every one of their class about social media and the effects of social media. We took that full first week to talk to all of our kids about that.
not the message my daughter delivered to me when I said what happened the first week of school. I got nothing happened the first week of school. I got nothing happened the first week of school.
Every single teacher talked to them about that first week of school.
I will go ask.
And there were actually two things they talked about. One was the dangers of social media and also the dangers of extended screen time,
Yes.
of looking at a screen and the blue light from the.
Makes you go blind.
Mhm.
So those sitting too close to the TV.
But those were two topics that the principals mandated that the students. that the
I'll ask her.
students-
I will go ask her
Okay.
to see what she says, because I mean, like I said, her message was, well, we didn't do anything.
Well, they did, they listened.
Detail.
So.
First week of school.
Well, the same goes for the teachers that were at the fair and the students that were at the fair, but
They didn't do nothing.
they didn't do anything that week either, and they didn't get the lecture from the parents, or from the students, from the teachers that weren't there.
We did nothing.
Don't worry, I ask about food, I do all the things, right? Talking about lunches.
Okay,
She
so
likes the game with the chicken, too.
I will probably be absent for the next meeting. I will not be, I will be out of town. If I can get on the thing, I will, but I think I'll be out of town.
We'll get you a Zoom, just so you have it.
What's the date of the next one?
So it's like September 21st, is that right?
September 21st, yes, that's correct.
Oh, 22nd, sorry.
22nd?
22nd, yeah.
Actually, you have it set at the 15th,
Oh, it is the 15th.
because the first is Labor Day. And we
Still
aren't
counts as a Monday, so it's the 15th.
Okay, so I will be here. So, okay,
Yeah, the
never mind then.
the 1st, the 8th, and the 15th.
Oh, Vince, I was gonna ask you if we can maybe put on the website or announcements or something, cause is sign-up day for school board and all other elections next Tuesday, correct?
26.
26th,
That's next Tuesday?
yes.
Maybe just put it out there, anybody that's interested, just, write your name in blood on the paper and we'll get you signed up. You gotta go to the clerk's office. Other than that, we got a motion to adjourn, we will get out of here.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.